All right, let's get right into it. You think you know this story. A haunted movie theater, right? Whispers in the dark, a body count that just keeps climbing. But trust me, this is so much more than just a restless spirit. We're talking about a cold-blooded murder, a massive cover-up, and a secret that's been festering for 15 years. And it is done staying buried.
Yeah, a story of blood on a dark screen. Chilling, right? Those are the first lines we get, and they nail the tone perfectly. This isn't just a place where scary things happen. The cinema itself is the only witness to a terrible crime. And the ghost? Well, that's not just a ghost. It's a message, a desperate plea from beyond the grave, playing out for anyone who dares to watch.
So let's take a little trip to the Cinema Cut Theater. You know, this used to be the kind of place you'd go for a fun night out. Not anymore. Now it's just wrapped in these dark rumors and, frankly, a lot of fear. And for good reason. For months, there's been this string of, well, bizarre and deadly incidents, and they all lead back to one single cursed auditorium. Screen 3.
And when I say deadly, I mean it. We're talking 6 deaths in just 3 months. Think about that. And what's even crazier? Until now, every single one of these was just gone, swept under the rug. Families were paid off to keep quiet. So right from the get-go, you know, okay, this isn't just some spooky ghost story. This is a full-blown cover-up.
And who's the guy pulling the strings, making sure everyone stays quiet? Meet Chandra Prakash Mishra. This guy's got quite the resume. Ex-gangster, now a politician. So yeah, he has the power, he has the influence, and he definitely has a reason to keep the truth buried deep. It really makes you wonder, right? Is the real danger here some kind of ghost, or is it something much, much more human?
So, into this mess walks our hero, Disa. Now, she's not your typical ghost hunter with Ouija boards and seances. Nope, she's a paranormal scientist. She lives right in that cool space where science meets the supernatural. Her whole thing is, if something is really there, it's got to leave a trace, a signature, something you can actually measure in the data.
So Chandra Prakash, the owner, he actually agrees to let her investigate. But, of course, there's a catch. A big one. She gets one night. That's it. One single night all alone in that theater to prove there's something going on. And if she finds nothing, she walks away, and this whole story disappears forever. The clock is definitely ticking.
And as the theater's terrified caretaker, a guy named Ratan, hands her the keys, he gives her this super ominous warning. Here, even the walls have ears, and behind the screen, there are eyes. Creepy, right? And look, she takes it seriously, but she's not there to get spooked. She's there for one reason, to get data.
And with that, the investigation is on. Disha isn't walking around hoping to see a ghostly figure or some weird orb float by. She is all business, approaching this completely logically. Because, like she says herself, ghost or illusion, data never lies. I love that line. So, what's in her toolkit? You're not going to find any holy water or ancient spells here. We're talking tech. A thermal camera to spot any weird temperature drops, a super sensitive audio recorder, and sensors to track any funky energy signatures. Basically, she's treating Screen 3 less like a haunted house and more like a crime scene with a very, very unusual suspect. And bam! Almost right away, she gets a hit. A big one. The temperature inside the auditorium, which is totally sealed, by the way. No open windows, no vents, it just plummets. We're talking from a steady 18 degrees Celsius all the way down to 4. That should be impossible. But her instruments don't lie. Something is definitely in that room with her.
And this is where it gets really wild. Her gear starts picking up stuff she can't even see. First, this weird green glow just appears on the movie screen. At the exact same time, her thermal camera sees this huge cold mass right in front of the screen. But when she looks, nothing. There's nothing there. And all her sensors, all the energy, it's all pointing to one single spot, seat D23.
Then she gets an audio clue. From that exact same empty seat, D23, she hears something. Something that should be totally normal in a movie theater, but is absolutely terrifying right now. It's the sound of someone chewing popcorn. She even sees the seat cushions sink down, like someone just sat in it. But wait, it gets worse. Her high-tech recorder, it's picking up something else hidden underneath that popcorn crunch, something way more sinister. Faint screaming and the whirring of an old-school film projector. And that's the key, right? The ghost isn't just hanging out in a seat. It's trying to lead her somewhere. It's pointing her directly to the projection room.
And this is the turning point. All these weird random events, the cold spots, the sounds, they're starting to come together. They're forming a message. It clicks for her. The ghost isn't just trying to scare her away, it's trying to show her something. So, just as Disha's about to head up to the projection room, the huge movie screen in front of her flickers to life, all on its own, and it's not playing a movie. It looks like some kind of ghostly security footage. And the date stamp is crystal clear, March 21st, 2011. That's 15 years ago. It's like the theater itself is having a flashback.
What she sees on that screen is just horrific. It's a younger Chandra Prakash, and he's furious. He's confronting the theater's projectionist, a man named Aman, about being in love with his daughter. And in a total fit of rage, Prakash flicks on the projector, grabs Aman, and just shoves his head into the machine's spinning pulley. It kills him instantly. The footage ends with Prakash and the caretaker Ratan stuffing the body into a sack.
So it all makes sense now. This was never a random evil haunting. The 6 people who died, the cold, the noises, it was all the leftover energy of Aman's spirit. He was murdered right there, and he's been trapped, trying for 15 long years to tell someone, anyone, what really happened.
But she barely has a second to process this, because the door to the auditorium slams open. And who's standing there? Chandra Prakash. He knows. He knows she saw the footage, and there is no way he's letting her walk out of there alive.
And he's thought of everything. He tells her he installed signal jammers, so all that data she collected, it's not going anywhere. Then he pulls out a silenced pistol. No witnesses, no cell service, no way out. I mean, how do you get out of that? It's an impossible situation.
Turns out she doesn't have to get herself out of it. A man's spirit does it for her. Suddenly, the entire theater is plunged into pitch-black darkness. The speakers let out this deafening, painful shriek that totally disorients Prakash. He starts firing his gun wildly. He sees a shadow dash towards the projection room, and he runs after it. But the second he steps inside, slam, the door shuts and locks from the outside. Now he's the one who's trapped.
And what happens next is just perfect karmic justice. Inside that locked room, the old projector groans and sputters back to life. The film reels on the floor. They start moving on their own like snakes, wrapping around Prakash's legs, his body, holding him tight. And then the machine pulls him into the exact same spinning pulley that he used to murder Aman all those years ago. Once everything is quiet again, Disha looks up at the little window of the projection room, and she sees him. Aman's spirit is standing there, just for a moment. But all the anger, all the pain, it's gone from his face. He just looks peaceful. His story is out. His killer is gone. And with his work finally done, he just fades away. And just like that, it's over. The haunting of the cinema cut is done. You can feel the cold leaving the room. That heavy, oppressive feeling just lifts. For the first time in 15 years, the theater is actually, truly silent. The cycle is finally broken.
Which kind of leaves you with one last thing to think about, doesn't it? We go to the movies to watch stories on a screen. But what happens when the building itself has a story to tell, a really dark one? So, was this a ghost getting its revenge? Or was this just the cinema playing its final, bloody reel?